Hi everyone, welcome to this week's garden update, which will be the very last one for this year 2021. So since I haven't shown you the tomato plants in quite some time, I was thinking we'll take a look at them, plus we'll check out some more dahlias that have opened up and a few new crops that I have on the go. So please just sit back and relax for a few minutes and let me show you around. It's such a lovely, cool summer's evening. I just noticed today that the first purple coneflower has opened. This was one of many different types of perennials which I transplanted around the garden back in early spring. I find early spring and mid-autumn, which is approximately 6 weeks before the first frost, these are both two good times of year to transplant any perennials. It's much cooler outside, and as long as they aren't flowering, they seem to do really well for me. I just make sure I give them a good water in with a seaweed solution. I popped two of the Celosia Forest Far in this little spot. You can see there's one there, but look at the other one. It looks like the chickens dug it out, and I noticed it too late before I had the chance to try and rescue it, popping it back in the ground. Oh well, another one bites the dust. At least I still have this one. It's looking healthy. I just grabbed a few sticks from around the garden to create this fort to protect my little plant, and that should stop the chickens from getting to it. Unfortunately, I didn't do this sooner, which meant that I did lose the other one, but I still have this one in there, nice and safe. As you know, every year I love to try out some new flowering annuals which I've never grown before. Of course, I hoped to have, a lot of these Forest Far Celosia plants grow for me, but it looks like I'm only left with one. But that's fine, because you only really need one plant to complete its cycle for you to gain the knowledge and experience to be able to grow it again if you want to. This little toy truck, which is nestled amongst the plants, hasn't been lost by my children. I actually deliberately put it there. I think it looks a little bit whimsical, like a scene from Jurassic Park. I love adding little touches of fun like this in the garden. Do you remember this wattle tree which got damaged in a storm? Not the big devastating storm, but one just before that, where I had to come in and give it a good hack back. It lost a lot of its main branches and stems. Well, look at it now. It's put out all of these little fresh shoots. It's alive and kicking, such a great sight to see. Give it a few months and it will bush up really well, creating a kind of natural barrier between this garden space and over there in the fan garden. And I really love that about gardening, that you can put in a shrub or a tree and it creates a bit of mystery, so you never quite know what's around the corner. And once this fills up this whole area, that's exactly what's going to be achieved. A few more dahlia varieties have opened up. This one is a little bit of a mystery. I had it growing over in the raised garden bed area last year and I cannot remember its name. I'll see if I can figure it out. If I can, I'll pop it up on screen. I may have already shown you this one when the first flower opened up. So this was sold to me as Dahlia Tuscany, but if you go and Google that, you will notice that the flowers do not look the same as these. So I'm not quite sure exactly what we are looking at, but I think it's very pretty nonetheless. This one is called Dahlia Black Wonder. It's in the Jewel Garden. I just picked off this second bloom to show you something interesting, but I think I may have disturbed this little ladybug. So once I'm finished, I'll put her back in the garden bed. But you notice how almost all of the petals here are missing the tips? It's like it's been munched off. I was trying to figure out how this happened, and I have a bit of a theory. I reckon some creature got to it when it was still at the bud stage, nipping it off, and now that it's all bloomed, it's more obvious and you can see it's looking a little bit deformed. Oh well, it's still beautiful. I know it's a little bit hard to see because the sun is quite glary over here, but I do want to give you a quick update on this new dahlia patch. Do you remember back in spring I put in 16 brand new dahlia tubers into this spot? Now a lot of them do have buds appearing already. You can see there's one there, but if we come over here, this one is in bloom. This is a single flower dahlia. Do you see how it's more open and flat? In my opinion, oh look at that, I've woken up some other little insect. Whoops. I feel like I'm disturbing all the little creatures out here today. I was gonna say, I don't believe that these kind of single dahlias are as popular as the big showy ones. I'm basing this off the fact that there's not as many of these to buy as tubers from the online shops. You know, there is one really big benefit to growing these single flowered dahlias. They really help out our pollinator friends. So because the flower is so open, the bees and butterflies are very easily able to access the flower's pollen and nectar. Just down here at the base of the dahlia patch, I have two little seedlings on the go, and what you're looking at are two different types of gourds. So this one here is a dinosaur gourd, and the second one over here is a speckled swan. To the side of the dahlias I have this patch which has a lot of edibles on the go. I don't think I've even shown you this yet. So I popped in a whole load of these purple king beans in here, a big row of them. I still haven't put the trellis up yet. In front of them I have two of these lemon cucumbers. I think I put in about 3 seeds and I got these two germinating. I probably will dig one of these out and transplant it or give it away to someone. Over here, more cucumbers. These ones are white spine. Also two of them. They're looking so healthy. And then down here, this is a pumpkin. A Terps turban. There, I got it. Oh, that's just a weed, I think. A few little weeds popping up. This one is great as well. I did actually have 2 of them. There was one here, but it's disappeared. This area is a little bit of a work in progress. So I had mentioned a long time ago that I was putting in 2 new raised beds here with another archway. I managed to get the beds together, lay down the cardboard. Oh, there's always something that comes up. I had planned to do this, have it finished like maybe 5 days ago, but it just didn't happen. I got about 2 or 3 wheelbarrows of compost in here. I might get this finished over the weekend. We'll see how I go. I've already got plans for what I'm going to put in these 2 beds. Lots of corn, more climbing plants, peas and pumpkins. Any new gardeners who may be watching this who live in New South Wales and you're seeing this video around the same time as it's been published, I have some great news for you. If you want to start growing your own food, even right now, there is so much time left in the season. You can pop in some tomatoes, cucumbers, melons, start them all from seed, or even just go to your local garden centre where there is a huge variety of seedlings available for purchase. I'm now over here by the raised garden bed area to give you a tomato update. Just before I do that, I want to show you what's going on in here in one of the raised beds. I've got my first squash, button squash, developing. Actually, there's a second one over here too. Once these plants get going, they start to produce food so fast. So even though this is looking a bit small at the moment, as is the other one up here, I will be harvesting these in a matter of days. What you're looking at are 8 tomato plants, but I do have 18 in this part of the garden. I gave them a really good prune this week. I know a lot of people would go more severe than I have, cutting off a lot more of the foliage, but I'm pretty happy with how they are looking. Actually, scrap that, because I just crouched down here to see if I could spot any tomatoes, and I noticed that a lot of the foliage is starting to show signs of disease. You can see the yellowing with the black spots there. I need to come in here and give it another prune, because this kind of disease can spread very fast amongst these plants. If I don't remove it, I do risk the possibility of losing them all, which I definitely don't want to happen, especially after all the effort I put into growing these to date. There are so many different ways that you can tie up tomato plants. Over here I've chosen to stake them individually and tying up their stems using this very soft, flexible material that I purchased from my local hardware shop. Some of you might be wondering, why do I bother tying up tomatoes? Well, I do it for a few different reasons. For me, one of the main reasons why I do it is to reduce any, opportunity for disease. So if a plant's lying on the ground, you've got foliage touching the ground, you might get some little garden pests using it as a kind of ramp to climb their way up the tomato plant and cause havoc. Also, by tying them up, it just helps to increase airflow, especially when you prune them as well, and that helps with any fungal diseases like what you just saw there. Something else I just thought of there was, I don't really particularly want to be rooting around looking for tomatoes all over the ground, especially when it's snake season. I know that's something I have to do here anyway when it comes to, pumpkins and some of those cucumbers I showed you earlier. I will be letting them sprawl around, but I guess the fewer crops I have growing along the ground, the better. I know there's many more benefits to growing tomatoes like this, but I have just thought of one more reason, and I'll probably leave it at that. If you have them growing vertically and you're pruning them, you're really exposing them to more sunlight, which will help the fruit to ripen. Look who's decided to hop into one of the tomato beds, checking out what she can eat. Aren't you, Snowflake? What are you up to? Let's come around this way. Oh, you're heading over there now. But there are some really nice tomatoes down there. Do you see them? I don't want to go near them. Actually, I haven't even bagged them up yet to protect them against the fruit fly. I really need to get on top of that. Autumn has decided to hop in here as well. What's she eating? My Johnny jump ups. I don't mind her going near them. That's all right. Or maybe there's a little bug on them that she's trying to peck at. What is it? Oh, what are you eating? This is some of the foliage, the petunia foliage. This is the other bed containing 8 more plants, and you can see here all along the front, this is some delicious basil. If we take a closer look, some of these tomatoes are smaller than others, and that is because I had to replace a couple of them. So this one was definitely replaced after some of the original plants did a disappearing act. I'm going to have a little bit of a root around now and see if I can show you some tomatoes. So these ones here are called Tasmanian chocolate. I have 3 there on the plant with plenty of flowers. Oh, and I just spotted there's some more. If you could take a look in here. Oh, it's like a little jungle. Let me see if I can grab this to show you. There's, oh, look what I've just done. You're kidding me. I've just broken it off. Oh my goodness, why did I do that? Oh well, there's plenty more in there somewhere. Here's another one of the tomato plants that I put in late, and I've actually just noticed that there are a couple of tomatoes on it. This one is called, check the label, Indian Rose. Oh yeah, this is one of the new varieties that I purchased that I was excited to grow. I've got 2 there. I'm really hoping this plant will be okay, because look at it, it's not looking very healthy. I'll have to cut off that stem and maybe this one too, but I think it's still got a good chance of growing. These are the ones I showed you a little bit earlier. These are called Indigo Ruby. These are Tigerella. Can you see that, the little stripes on it? Well, I cannot believe it, but that is a wrap for another year, another 12 wonderful months sharing my gardening journey with you all. And before I head off, can I just say thank you for all your support, for watching my content, leaving beautiful encouraging comments, and just always being there. It just really motivates me to keep on going with this channel. Truly, I am so grateful. Thank you. Have a safe night, and I'll see you all again next Friday.